Preparation's been real good. Got a lot of work done back in Seattle, and took a few days off. The guys have a little bit of Christmas. We got out here late last night, and then kind of woke up this morning, went over to the Dome, got a little work done, and so tomorrow we'll be ready to kind of rock and roll again for kind of a normal week of preparations to finish it off. And we're excited to be here. Really pleased with our guys, how they've handled everything, their finals, to being in this game, and just their focus and all those type of things. So we'll be excited when whatever day it is, Friday, Saturday rolls around here.
All right, thanks, Coach. All right, we got about 15 minutes for questions. No mics in the room, so just please speak up. Just raise your hand. We'll call you out, and we'll get started. Where are we going to start? All right, right here.
Coach, what makes John Moss such a good player? What was special about him?
Really starts with coaching. Just kidding. Actually, he has a really good wide receiver coach, I will say that. I think, first and foremost, those two guys have really clicked, his coach and him. And it's really nice for me to see when we got here 3 years ago where he was to where he is now as a wide receiver. What makes him special is he's just got some, God-given explosiveness that you don't see very, very often. So he's had that all along, but now he's, really become a polished receiver. He knows how to release, he knows how to run routes, control his breaks. I think a lot of times fast guys really can struggle. I've been around a lot of fast guys that are not good route runners because they just struggle controlling that speed. And he can do that. And so it's been really, really awesome to see all that. Coupled with, he's a great guy. I think that matters. He really wants to be coached, and he wants to be good. And I think all those things you've seen his evolution as a receiver.
All right, over on the far right, Coach.
Coach, now that you're here, how do you and your staff handle the balance with your players of this being a bowl game and a bit of a reward, but also a business trip with so much on the line?
Yeah, it's kind of how we talk to them anyways. Even when we travel just as a normal away game, like we always want them to enjoy and appreciate the moment. We want them to appreciate the different venues, the different hostile environments that we go into. We really do. That's part of this whole thing, this college football, the pageantry. There's nothing like it. Pro football is not like it. It's just different. And certainly when you come here for a week and you get all these cool events, we want them to appreciate that as well. And I think there's plenty of time to do that and still stay focused on the task at hand and why we're here. I think our guys get that. And so it's not, something not that we just talk about this week. So it's like, how do we handle this? It's just kind of how we've done business all along. And I think our guys are ready to do this the right way.
All right, right here. Al.
Where have you seen Jake take that next step in his development in that second year? Was there a moment this year that you were like, okay, he's got it, he's on that path?
Yeah. We've kind of felt for a long time that he's, had the it factor in terms of he can feel the game pretty good. And so then it's just, to me, a matter of building consistency. That's really with every position. You see certain guys flash, and why are some players good players and some players great players and some average? To me, it has to do with consistency. And so it's about building consistency at that quarterback position, and it comes with knowing your system and more reps. He's had a lot of really good reps in high school because they really threw it a lot and did a bunch of different things. And so he came in here, I think, with some pretty good instincts. And so then it's just a matter of getting him really comfortable with our schemes, the speed of the game at college. And all that takes a little bit of time and just to stay to the process. So I don't think there's been any one time where he's really, he's a tremendously hard worker and studier of the game and the position. And so it's just a matter of time. You never can predict when. And he's still work in progress. We all are. And I think that's the good thing. Probably one of the best things about him is you still feel he's really hungry to try to master this position if that's possible.
John.
Chris, you had a senior class that boys that won 50 games. Alabama's done it
Yeah.
a couple of years in a row. Can you put into context how tough that is?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's it's amazing what Alabama's doing. The level that they compete at, and it's a combination of they have really good players. I thought we had really good players way back when, and then they're coached well. It's that combination, and that's what makes them really good. And then you get the ball rolling, and they can lose guys early, and the next crew is ready to take over and carry the baton, and it's an impressive cycle that he has going over there.
Okay, right here in the middle.
Chris, you have such an even-keeled personality, you don't get too high or too low. How will that help your team this week as they get ready to get on the biggest stage they've ever been on?
Yeah. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just, really is another game. Every game is really, really important to these guys. We kind of talked about this going through the season. There'd be a certain team that we play that, this is going to be a big game, the biggest one of the season, and we would just kind of chuckle and say, it doesn't matter who we play, that next game is always the most important game. And we'd get asked the questions, do you feel like a different, urgency and focus, this week than you did a week or two? And we'd say no. I think that's been one of the beauties of this team. They just been very focused all season long and really, really go to work, and they don't change a whole lot in terms of that. And so I think one of the things of playing good football is going to be for those guys not to get, too excited. It's that balance, that energy level. I worry more always about practice of getting that energy level up so it feels closer to the game than the games, and so those two things match each other.
Dan?
Chris, I'm curious, do you guys have the amount of takeaways in practice, proportional to what you guys do in the game? And is that scary sometimes when you see that in practice, if you guys are turning it over offensively against?
Well, spring ball is miserable for me, as the head coach. I'm mad at somebody all the time. You can't win. It's like the defense just got 6 turnovers and you're like completely devastated that the offense just turned it over. Or, the offense had a great day of ball security and it's like, what is wrong with our defense? We're not going to. And so spring ball and, fall camp is where you really feel those things. And our coaches have done a great job of emphasizing. If I had the secret, I wouldn't tell a soul. Everybody's trying to figure that out. I really don't know what it is. The kids have done a great job with it. At this point, you can throw all the stats out the window because it's one game. It's one game now, and so we got to try to win the turnover battle in this one game. It just doesn't matter what you've done up to there. You could lead the country in that, and you look at that one game that maybe you didn't, and you probably didn't play real well. And so that's what it is. It's none of these stats, have anything to do with anything in terms of our opinion right now. We know the ball security is a huge thing in all football games, and it'll be really important in this one.
Okay, over here on the far right.
I think it's been a year to the day that you played in the heart of Dallas Bowl, and that also coincided with Alabama's arrival for the College Football Playoff Semifinal last year. And you talk about how far you guys have come to reach the stage where you are playing, different.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year was a real struggle in a good way. At the end of the season, you look at the record and you're not super proud of it, but we were really proud of the process that our kids went through. Those guys were irritated, frustrated, mad, focused, hardworking. As any team that we'd been around, we played some really good teams, and we weren't quite there in terms of getting over the hump to win some of those close games. We lost, a handful of close games, but they never stopped working. They never pointed fingers. They never, did all the things that you don't want them to do as a coach. It's so easy for most to do. And then we started to pick up some steam. We started to build a little more skill at the end of the year. And the last 3 games, the guys really were, you can kind of feel it starting to pay off a little bit. And so then, they came into the offseason in winter workouts with just, you could feel it there. that it was the same type of mentality. And you always think, if guys will just stay consistent, that word again, good things are going to happen. And they have. And they've, even when we lost a game this year, the next week really wasn't much different. I mean, it was right back to work, and nobody liked it, and guys were a little bit irritated, but it was like you'd like it to be. So it's, it's been it didn't happen. It's been obviously a slow progression, and, proud of how those guys went through it.
Far left over here.
Back to the secondary, Coach Saban just said that he compared you guys to the Seattle Seahawks. First of all, what do you think of that comparison? And second of all, how do you think that your secondary matches up against Alabama's receivers?
Yeah, I don't know about that comparison. I think that, I think our secondary's played well. I think we have some good players back there that compete and really understand the position. I think that, our whole defense will be tested like, we haven't been tested yet because of the balance that Alabama brings to the table in terms of, the run game and all the smoke and, shifts and motions, sweeps, every type of motion you can imagine, and, ball outside and then try to pound you up the middle and then play action pass. So everybody's going to have to be on point and very disciplined with their job. And, the game always comes down to one-on-one matchups, and guys are going to have to win one-on-one battles.
Right here.
Chris, with Ross Wade, what kind of stuff did you tell him last year after he had his injury and had to deal with, obviously, the recovery process? And do you think he's even faster and more explosive now than he was pre-injury?
Yeah, it's hard to know if he's more. I mean, he's always been, he's always been really, different than a lot of guys, so I don't know if he's more. I didn't say a whole lot to him in terms, those ACLs, those are hard injuries because they just take so long, and especially you get one in spring football and there goes your season, you're going to have to sit. And so that is painful. I don't know if there's anything harder to go through because it's just so much time. Now, the good thing is the kids will come back as good, if not better than new in terms of how they, how the surgeries go, the strength and conditioning to build off it. They'll come back great. But it's just a long, hard process to stay mentally strong. And I will say this, it took him about a week to kind of get his bearings back. And I was amazed. I kept watching thinking, I don't know if this is going to last, this mentality. He just seemed too it. I don't know if that peace is the right word or not, because he was working hard. He just had a great mentality. He was optimistic and positive and was not in the tank very long at all. And that just really continued all through summer, and every time we see him and talk to him, it was really, really impressive. It's a great thing for other guys to learn from, that, hey, there's always bumps in the roads, but it's all about your mentality, and you can come back, better than you were before.
All right, time for a couple more. Let's go right here in the middle.
I'm curious, probably 5 years ago, if you were talking about the challenge of taking out Alabama's offense, shifts and motions probably wouldn't have come up at all. Is that a credit to kind of impact that Lane Kiffin's had? They've really changed, made a lot of changes.
Well, yeah, I think, Coach Saban probably has a pretty strong vision for what he wants that offense to look like, and then says, go make it happen. And so it's similar to what we've seen in the past, in the West. And, they put their own unique style on it, and play to their strengths, in terms of what the quarterbacks can do. It always starts with the quarterback, and kind of go from there.
Okay, right here.
Kind of along that line, somewhat of a two-part question. Seeing Lane, after everything he's dealt with professionally, get another head coaching job, and on the same line, seeing Sark get another opportunity as a head coach. Your thoughts on both of them professionally?
Yeah, two really good football coaches, and I think we kind of all know how this goes. You got to have a lot of, you can be really good at what you do, and you just got to have a lot of timing and luck to go, luck to go with it. I think about, our situation here. I mean, I feel like very blessed and lucky that a lot of things have worked out, coupled with a lot of hard work and a lot of good people surrounding each other. And so you know how this thing can go. Sometimes it's like having a tiger by the tail, and you just hope that it all works out. But I know that they're really good football coaches, and it's not surprising that both are, back at really good places for each of them, and they'll do a great job.
All right, right here.
Chris, you're famous for your trick plays, and I wonder how much your offense enjoys having those called and executing them.
Yeah. Well, anytime somebody gets to throw the ball into the quarterback, everybody's excited. I think somebody ran I think it was a reverse to a tackle this fall. I think it was Pittsburgh might have done it. And I'm not kidding you, I hadn't seen that. And within 30 seconds, I had 5 text messages, and you know who they were from, every one of the O-line going, do you think we'll get that one? And so guys, they like to have fun, and they like to do something different. And, and sometimes you can create some momentum and explosives and those type of things. And, and so everybody talks about us doing trick plays, and we'll work against them, and we might not do any, we might do a bunch, who knows?
All right, got time for one more. Where are we going, guys? Anybody else? All right, right here.
Chris, we just in watching Alabama, what have you seen from them on tape that's maybe surprised you about them and maybe you weren't expecting?
Well, you hear about somebody, how good they are, and but you don't. I mean, you see them on TV, and it's completely different than when you study somebody and you're trying to, figure out what gives you the best chance for success, and then you have really huge respect for what they're doing once you study somebody. And there's a lot of people out there that kind of watch them and see their record and know they're good and say things, but I think when you study them as a coach, you have more appreciation for what they got going, because they got a heck of a squad. I mean, all 3 phases, and the people they put on the field are impressive.